Hey there, my name is Stephen Pollitt, creator of Source-Energy-Medicine. You know, it used to be a large number of the most frequently asked questions that I received were related to how to make or how to take source energy medicine. I fully realize source energy medicine is a unique methodology in many ways, and the likelihood that you ever made a vibrational medicine in your own home is pretty small. So I'm excited to have this opportunity in which I'll clearly demonstrate the entire process for you and hopefully answer all of your questions along the way. Since you're watching this video, you are likely completely new to source energy medicine, so I want to start with some very basics and build from there. Source energy medicine employs proprietary technology that enables anyone anywhere in the world to create the exact same source energy medicine as we can here. The system revolves around a series of specially designed charging labels that, when applied to bottles of water, structure the water molecules and then charges them with specific vibrations and frequencies, and you can make over 190 different source energy medicines in your own home. So it might be completely obvious, but next I want to talk about water. This is a huge topic in and of itself. Water certainly is the foundation of source energy medicine. And in an interview with Lynn McTaggart, Dr. Rustam Roy of Penn State University stated the future of all medicine will be in water. He went on to explain that our bodies are mostly made of water, so the best way to heal our bodies is to introduce water that has been structured and charged with specific vibrations or frequencies. Without knowing it, he essentially was describing source energy medicine. So when making source energy medicine, any good quality water is fine. High quality spring water truly is an ideal water in general, though it is completely not necessary for making source energy medicine. Most home water filtration systems these days are pretty good and would be appropriate for making source energy medicine. I would definitely not suggest using municipally treated tap water that is not then filtered in your own home. And the bottom line is, if you have any questions or any doubts, simply have your water professionally tested. To me, the next most logical step is let's talk about appropriate containers for making source energy medicine. Many people simply buy a case of spring water and use the bottles to make source energy medicine. I think mason jars are really good options. They have great lids, and this one has a wide mouth, making it easy to refill and easy to clean if necessary. Really, any size up to 5 gallons can be used with a single charging label. Now, I'm often asked about the material that the bottles are made of, and the most simple answer that I could possibly offer is the container for making source energy medicine must be transparent, meaning you have to be able to easily see completely through the bottle. So I have this very simple, seemingly silly, yet highly effective test to make sure that any bottle or container is appropriate or not for making source energy medicine. What you want to do is simply take the bottle, look through the far side, through the water, and if you could read the charging label, so can the water. As long as the water can clearly read the charging label, you're making source energy medicine. Which is to say, if I can't read the charging label, neither can the water, and I'm not making source energy medicine. I often receive questions about date codes or stamps or production codes or embossing, like the clear raised letters that are on mason jars. A lot of mason jars have embossing on them, and in each of these examples there's no possibility of interference since there's no intention behind the words to have an effect on water. All that said, I would not use any of the Dr. Emoto inspired water bottles or stickers like love or gratitude and apply those to a bottle that you're going to then use to make source energy medicine, as the two can potentially create interference since those other stickers are made with the intention to actually structure water molecules as we see in Dr. Emoto's photographs. And in a sense, it would be like standing in the middle of two people and both are talking on either side of you. It would simply be chaotic. A lot of bottles have ridges like these, and in this instance, these ridges can actually impair the water's ability to be able to clearly read the charging labels, so I would not use a bottle like this for making source energy medicine. Now, if there's a smooth section on the bottle like this one, I would simply apply the charging label to the smooth section, or simply find a bottle that does not have ridges like this one. The charging labels can be printed in black and white or in color, any color. They could be printed on clear label stock or plain copy paper. Most people simply print the PDF, the file of the Source Energy Medicine charging labels, on their home printer with black and white. First, I'm going to demonstrate making a Source Energy Medicine using labels printed on clear label stock, which are what the sets of pre-printed charging labels that we have available on our website. And we simply offer them for those who either can't print their own or simply prefer the convenience of having pre-printed charging labels. I will then demonstrate making Source Energy Medicine with labels that are printed on plain copy paper. I think it's important to highlight that there is no difference in terms of the efficacy between the pre-printed charging labels that we sell versus printing them at home with a good quality printer. You'll need one bottle for each Source Energy Medicine charging label that you want to use. You cannot use more than one charging label on a bottle. You'll want to prepare your bottles. I already removed the label from this bottle, which was covering the smooth section, and that's where I want to apply the charging label, and this is only if it's necessary. And this bottle label was a plastic shrink wrap label that was very easy to cut and peel away. A bottle like this one, where the label is actually glued to the bottle, would be quite a task to remove all of the labels. So this is definitely a less than ideal bottle to use. Once your bottles are set, simply find the appropriate charging label that you want to use. And if you don't know what labels to start with, there is a sample protocol included with the Source Energy Medicine Quick Start Guide that most people follow with very good success. So my bottle is prepared. I have the charging label that I want to use. I simply peel the charging label off and apply it to the smooth section of this bottle. Now, if these ridges were not at the lower section of this bottle, I would place the charging label as low on the bottle as possible. That's not an option with this bottle, so I'm simply placing the charging label over the smooth section. And the reason why I suggest placing the charging label towards the bottom of the bottle is so that the water is reading the charging label longer. And on this bottle, for example, I would place the charging label vertically so that the water is reading the charging label the longest amount of time. So if you think about it, the water has to be able to read the charging label. So in this case, as the water level drops below the charging label, I would simply refill this bottle. And the last step is simply to cover the charging label with 2-inch clear packing tape, and that simply helps to protect the charging label from getting smudged or damaged when refilling or just day-to-day handling. Now, you might be making 3 or more Source Energy Medicines, so once you apply the charging label, you want to keep the bottles separate for about the first hour. The water molecules are actually structured and charged just within seconds, but it takes about an hour for them to fully stabilize. Beyond that 1 hour, the bottles can be quite close, and then they can even touch. Now, you don't have to wait an hour before taking a Source Energy Medicine, but I want you to know that it does take about an hour for everything to settle and stabilize. So certainly before that hour, I would not combine different Source Energy Medicines together. I don't suggest drinking directly from a bottle that has a charging label on it, and you'll want to keep a lid on it when it's not in use. From time to time, you'll want to check the charging labels and make sure that they're still readable and that they haven't been damaged by water refilling or handling. So that is all there is to making a Source Energy Medicine with charging labels that are printed on clear label stock. The process using plain copy paper is pretty similar. There's one key difference. The printing on that paper must face the water. I know it seems obvious. Think about it. If the printing faces out, the water can't read the charging label, and it's affecting essentially the air or any nearby object. So from here, the process is very similar. Find the appropriate charging label, prepare your bottle if necessary. A Source Energy Medicine life hack is take a marker and write the name of the particular charging label or the initials of that charging label on the back side of the label so that once you tape it to the bottle, you know what source energy medicine this is without having to look through the bottle and read it every time you're trying to find one. I trust the rest is quite obvious. Take some clear packing tape and tape it to the bottle, and there you have it. Let it sit 2 inches or more apart from any other source energy medicine, and that's all there is to it. You know, that's really how simple it is. Some people try and complicate the process and feel they have to find the most appropriate, most ideal bottles. So use what's commonly available or easily available. And if, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now, you find the ultimate bottles for making source energy medicine, then simply replace them. It's not that big a deal, but I strongly encourage you to not put off making source energy medicines and go on a quest to find the perfect bottle. So you already now know how to make source energy medicine, so the next most logical step is how to take it. And we can break down all source energy medicines into 2 basic categories. There are fusion and non-fusion source energy medicines. Fusion simply means that several different individual source energy medicines have been combined or fused into a single formula and single charging label. Because these individuals have been fused together, it's best to drink more of the fusions than the non-fusions. And the basic guideline is all fusion source energy medicines, you'll want to drink 8 to 16 ounces a day, and all non-fusion source energy medicines, 1 to 2 ounces a day. Any exact measurements are not necessary. Simply eyeball it, as the saying goes. Now, you actually cannot take too much source energy medicine. There's no possibility of a proving or a healing reaction. That's quite common with other methodologies. However, there definitely is a limit to how much water is appropriate to drink per day. Now, experts can't seem to agree, but a good rule of thumb is half of your body weight in ounces daily, which essentially means a 150-pound man would drink 75 ounces of water daily. And your body is going to provide feedback. Frequent urination is a pretty clear indicator that you're consuming more water than is comfortable for your body. So once your source energy medicines are made and they've been allowed to sit for an hour, different source energy medicines can then be combined into a common container like this sports bottle. So based on the guidelines that I just mentioned, you would take 8 ounces of every fusion and 1 ounce of every non-fusion and simply pour it into this container and then drink from this container throughout the day. If you can't sip it throughout the day, you can drink half in the morning and half in the evening. And honestly, based on all of the feedback that I've received since 2005, frequent sips throughout the day seems to be an ideal approach. Now, included in your charging label sets are a number of blank charging labels. You are now looking at an image of a blank charging label. And if you read the left-hand section of the label, you will read blank charging label. Use the label to stabilize combinations of source energy medicine. So ideally, you will have a blank charging label on the container that you drink out of, or the container that holds the combinations of your source energy medicines. One of the many blessings within the technology of the source energy medicine charging label system is that it enables each source energy medicine to be fully reconstitutable. The charging labels never wear out, and they only stop working if the printing on the label is damaged and the water can no longer clearly read it. So to reconstitute any source energy medicine, as I mentioned earlier, as your water level lowers, simply refill the bottle with good quality water. Now, if there's an ounce or more of source energy medicine in the bottle, this actually helps to fuel the structuring process, and it will structure and charge the water molecules very quickly. So in that scenario, there's no need to keep this bottle separate from others for that hour. Now, when you're done with a particular source energy medicine, I would not recommend removing the charging label and applying a new charging label to the same bottle to make a new source energy medicine. And the reason why I offer this very strong suggestion is because the charging label can actually structure the molecules in the container. If you take the label off, guess what? The bottle, in a sense, has the same exact effect upon the water that the charging label had, because the molecules in this bottle are structured and charged with that particular frequency. You might ask, does this happen with all materials, like glass, for example? And some glass bottles I have tested actually do get structured and charged. And I have yet to discover a simple way of undoing this process. So my very, very strong suggestion is that if you are sure you're done with a particular source energy medicine, I'd suggest giving it to a friend or a neighbor, or simply reuse this bottle for another purpose other than for making source energy medicine, or simply recycle it appropriately. So you can use source energy medicines in cooking or juicing or making tea. You can boil them and freeze them without affecting the efficacy. All that said, I strongly suggest that you drink the daily minimum suggested amount of each source energy medicine in your particular protocol simply as water. I encourage you to not put anything in the water. Simply allow the source energy medicine charging label to do its job without possible interference. Now, I do have to pause here and chuckle a little bit, because in every live workshop that I've ever offered since 2005, this is when a participant would ask, what about putting crystals in the bottle? It's really hard to not be sarcastic, but I thought do not put anything in the water was a pretty clear suggestion. So where was I before my rant? Yes, thank you. Plants seem to thrive when watered with source energy medicine, and they are completely safe to share with children. And a few years ago, I developed species-specific source energy medicines and charging labels that are available for dogs and cats, horses, and camelids, which are alpacas, camels, and llamas, as well as apis or honeybees. Those charging labels, however, are not included in the Quick Start Guide. We wanted to make sure that humans were actually using the human charging labels, and we have tried offering the files in different ways, and it was far too confusing for most people. So there is more information regarding the species-specific charging labels under the Buy It link on our website. Well, congratulations, we did it. You now know how to make and how to take source energy medicine. Please leave a comment in the comment box below, and if by any chance you still have a question after watching this, I want to know about it. So please put your question in the comment box below. I want you to know that I do read every comment and I answer as many questions as possible. I am super excited for you and for what is unfolding for you. I'd love to hear about your experience with source energy medicine, so please keep in touch. I firmly believe that source energy medicine was divinely inspired, and I know it is intended for the highest good of all sentient beings. I wish you all the best on your journey with source energy medicine and look forward to seeing you in the next class.